Hello and welcome to CineBolt. I'm not going to waste your time. In today's video, we are going to explore the top action movies hiding on Netflix right now, so let's begin. Number 10, Extraction 2. It is a 2023 action thriller directed by Sam Hargrave, starring Chris Hemsworth and Golshifteh Farahani. The narrative centers on Black Ops mercenary Tyler Rake, who is tasked with a high-stakes mission to rescue the battered family of a ruthless Georgian gangster from a deadly prison. The film features visually magnificent, non-stop tracking shots and visceral, hard-hitting choreography that elevates the genre. However, its thin plot sometimes feels overshadowed by the sheer volume of chaotic gunfire. Despite a predictable narrative arc, the film's innovative camera work and high-octane sequences are undeniably gripping. Number 9. The Killer. It is a 2022 South Korean action thriller directed by Choi Jae-hoon, starring Jang Hyuk. The story revolves around a retired hitman who reluctantly agrees to babysit a troubled teenage girl, only to violently dismantle a vicious child sex trafficking ring when she is abducted. The movie boasts sleek cinematography and nuanced, brutally efficient combat sequences that highlight the protagonist's lethal precision. While the action is undeniably sleek, the film relies heavily on familiar revenge tropes and generic villain dialogue. Although it lacks originality in its premise, the meticulously crafted fight scenes offer immense satisfaction. Overall, it is a thrilling watch for fans of hyper-stylish, one-man army retribution. Number 8. Polar. It is a 2019 neo-noir action thriller directed by Jonas Åkerlund, featuring Mads Mikkelsen and Vanessa Hudgens. The narrative centers on Duncan Visla, an aging assassin known as the Black Kaiser, who is forced out of his impending retirement when his greedy employers target him to avoid paying his pension. The film presents a highly stylized, comic book aesthetic with grotesque characters and vibrant, over-the-top gore. Mikkelsen provides a strong, grounded performance amid the chaos. Nevertheless, its wildly erratic pacing and aggressively campy tone can be jarring. Despite an inconsistent atmosphere that sometimes borders on the absurd, the visceral combat is highly entertaining. Overall, it is a must-see for fans of eccentric, blood-soaked pulp fiction. Number 7. Ballerina. It is a 2023 South Korean action thriller directed by Lee Chung-hyun, starring Jeon Jong-seo. The story revolves around a ruthless former bodyguard who embarks on a brutal, methodical quest for revenge against a sadistic trafficking ring following the tragic murder of her closest friend. The picture is visually magnificent, bathed in moody neon lighting that contrasts perfectly with its raw, grounded, and savage fight choreography. However, the remarkably simple storyline leaves several secondary characters feeling underdeveloped. Although its straightforward revenge plot offers few surprises, the emotional depth of the lead and the beautifully executed violence will enthrall the viewer. Overall, it is highly recommended for fans of atmospheric, slick Korean thrillers. Number 6. Havoc. It is a 2025 action thriller, written and directed by Gareth Evans, starring Tom Hardy and Forest Whitaker. The narrative centers on a bruised detective navigating a perilous criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son after a drug deal goes violently wrong. The film unleashes bone-breaking, kinetic martial arts choreography, blending gritty realism with evocative, claustrophobic cinematography. Hardy's commanding physical presence anchors the relentless combat. Yet, the overly convoluted conspiracy subplots occasionally bog down the film's otherwise breakneck pacing. Despite a slightly overstuffed script, Evans' masterful grip on frantic, visceral action shines through. Overall, it is a must-see for fans of hard-hitting, labyrinthine crime sagas. Number 5. Carter. It is a 2022 South Korean action thriller directed by Jung Byung-gil, featuring Ju Won. The story revolves around an amnesic agent implanted with a mysterious device who must race against time to rescue a young girl holding the cure to a deadly global pandemic. The movie is a technical marvel, shot to look like one continuous, chaotic take filled with dizzying drone camera work and hyper-violent aerial stunts. Conversely, this unrelenting, video game-like perspective can induce visual fatigue, and the logic of the plot is frequently abandoned. Although the extreme stylistic choices can be overwhelming and the narrative is absurd, its audacity is commendable. Overall, it is an essential watch for fans of breathless, experimental action spectacles. Number 4. Headshot. It is a 2016 Indonesian action thriller co-directed by Kimo Stambol and Timo Tjahjanto, starring Iko Uwais. The narrative centers on an amnesiac young man who washes ashore and, after being nursed back to health, must confront his dark past to rescue his doctor from a vicious crime syndicate. The film delivers astonishingly brutal Silat martial arts choreography, underscored by a gritty, uncompromising atmosphere and intense emotional stakes. Still, the film suffers from minor pacing issues between its spectacular set pieces, and the overarching story leans on familiar amnesia cliches. Despite a conventional setup, the raw ferocity of its hand-to-hand combat is unparalleled. Number 3. Sisu, thoroughly satisfying. Number 2. The Night Comes for Us. It is a 2018 Indonesian action thriller directed by Timo Tjojanto, starring Joe Taslim and Iko Uwais. The narrative centers on an elite triad enforcer who betrays his ruthless syndicate to protect an orphaned young girl, triggering a nightmarish, blood-soaked gang war across the city. The film is an absolute bloodbath, featuring staggering, horror-tinged violence and incredibly intricate, exhausting choreography that pushes the human body to its limits. However, the relentless, suffocating gore can be overly punishing, and the underlying character motivations are somewhat thin. Despite the overwhelmingly graphic nature that may alienate squeamish viewers, the technical execution of the fights is masterful. Overall, it is a must-see for fans of extreme, unadulterated martial arts mayhem. Number 1. The Raid. It is a 2011 Indonesian action thriller directed by Gareth Evans, starring Iko Uwais and Joe Taslim. The story revolves around a rookie SWAT team member who must fight his way through a towering, heavily fortified apartment complex run by a ruthless crime lord after his squad is ambushed and trapped. The film revolutionized the genre with its claustrophobic tension, breathtakingly fast-paced Silat choreography, and a gripping survival horror atmosphere. The combat is both innovative and flawlessly executed. If there is a critique, it is that the dialogue and character depth take a backseat to the relentless physical momentum. Although it prioritizes kinetic energy over dramatic complexity, it remains a gold standard in action filmmaking. Overall, it is an absolute must-see for anyone who appreciates flawlessly crafted, hard-hitting cinematic combat.